In this day and age, you will always get kickback if you are being true to you. This is Kendell Lenice, the Remix Coach. All right, if you are true to you, if you stand up for yourself, if you go against the grain, if you stand on your own, by your own, with your own self, there will always be kickback. Because we are in a day and age where everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be politically correct. Everybody wants to be loved by the masses and social media and everyone else. See me, hear me. I'm going to go with the ripples and the waves because I don't want to disrupt it. I don't want to disrupt the pattern. I don't want to go this way when everybody is going that way because I just want to be. Because I don't want to make a movement, I don't want to make a statement or a sound, because then I'll be singled out and nobody ain't going for that. Well, let me tell you something. In friendships, in relationships, in business ventures, or at work, in your career, no one likes when someone stands up for themselves and speak the truth. If you speak the truth or you go against what everyone else is saying, if everyone's saying pizza, and you saying, I want a hot dog, right? Everybody's looking at you like, a hot dog? We all getting pizza. Why can't you just say you want pizza? That's what everybody will do. And then, of course, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than food choices and selections, right? But if you stand up for yourself, or you show yourself as an individual and intelligent, then everybody's going to be looking at you sideways. Most people want people like this because they can control those people. They can monitor the words and how they're saying things and what they're doing. It happens all the time in friendships. If you're the friend that speaks out against something and everyone else is speaking in this way, then you're going to be looked at as the troublemaker. Oh, why they got to be difficult? Because they have their own view and opinion. If you are in a family and everyone's saying, okay, I want to have a reunion at the lake, and someone's like, I don't like water, I want this, that's different. That's complaining. That's why you have to be difficult, right? But that still is not even difficult. It's all about the approach, right? And how you say things. If everyone is saying the water and this person is saying, no, we need to have it on dry land, and they have all the facts, this, and this, they shouldn't automatically go over to the water side. People should hear them and they should listen instead of just labeling them. And I noticed that's what people do. I remember one time, and everything I talk about is off the cuff right here, but I remember one time I was at a job, and I remember they were doing things like the hard way. When it came to the work, it was accounting work. And I worked in accounts payable and receivable, paying the bills for the company, and then come enter the bills. When they enter, then I would sort those out and handle those. And I remember it was a way that you could do it where you can save steps. It was more accurate. You didn't have to do it certain things. People, because I believe in working smart, not hard, right? And people were doing it this way. So I came in and after I watched and trained, because you just can't come off the rip as soon as you get there telling people how to do something and what to do. You can't do that. You got to fall back, play your position, and you wait. So when they were doing it, I said, because you got to be gentle. I said, if you do it this way, we can save a lot of time and the accuracy is there. Well, we don't do it that way here. This is not how we do it. But the boss, whoever it was, said, this is how we got to do it. And I've been working here 20 years and this is how we've been doing it. So in my head, I'm like, but y'all can do it differently. You know what I said? I said, okay. And fell in line and did what they were doing in the way they were doing it. Well, ever since that time, the lady was looking at me all funny and weird, like who she thinks she is coming up here using her brain, right? Who she thinks she is telling us what to do. And it wasn't even that, but it's perception. And then later, I think it was like a couple of months later, she came back to me and was like, I tried it your way, and that's how I do it. Everybody else can do it the other way, but you're right, it saves time. But people first will look at you sideways for having your own view and opinion, and be bold enough to speak your truth and to speak certain things using your brain, because we all have a brain. We all have ideas, right? But some people won't express it because they don't feel confident enough to stand alone and stand in what they view as right or their opinion. Now, we wouldn't have made, as Black people, we would not have made headway if we didn't have individuals standing out and being alone sometimes. When people were fighting for justice and civil rights, somebody had to take one for the team. And they had to say, you know what? I don't like this. Whether all these other people are getting along here, they might not really want to get along, but they might be afraid to use their voice and use their intelligence and to speak against the grain. But it's always one that will say, you know what, this ain't right, this ain't fair. And I've been that one, not in civil rights, obviously, but even with people and injustices and, having people's backs and doing all of that, I always, even as a little kid, my mom said I would do this. I am the same person. Like, I would always stick up for someone who was excluded. I would always stick up for, and I wanted inclusivity. Even then, before it was a word, before I knew what it was, when I was a little kid, I hated to see people ostracized or by themselves or not using their voice. So I would always use my voice. And most of the time I would get in trouble for sticking up for somebody else. I was always sticking up for someone else. But my mom was like, I don't even know how you got that way. But you've always fought for the underdog. You've always used your voice. I've had to use it for my mom and speak up for my mom when she didn't at times and protect her in that way. And that is the nature of me. So sometimes I have to take one for the team. Somebody might be looking at me sideways, but it's always with great intentions. I remember one time my daughters and I were in the mall. This was years ago. They were younger. And I remember it was a little girl in line trying to get ice cream. And this other man, I'll just say, an older man who was grumpy, and he was this and that and all of that. The little girl was by herself. Her parents she might have been with a sibling. They were off to the side, didn't see them, but she was waiting in line. And each time somebody just kept cutting in front of her. And when I got up there and saw that and the man was doing that, I was like, oh, she was in line. Please allow her to get her ice cream because she's been waiting in line. Everybody's been passing her by. And the guy said whatever he said. And my kids were nervous for me because people aren't used to people speaking up for other people. Well, my kids already know that's how I roll. But, and I just pray for God's protection, but I was like, please let her get her ice cream. And it's just being an advocate for someone else and using your voice if you're able, because everybody doesn't have the voice yet, the voice that they want to have to be able to speak up. But there are so many different ways we can spin this and talk about this. But even with social justice and rights and, the bills that are passed, the bills that have been taken away, all of this stuff, it has to be somebody who says, we're going to go left or we're going to go right. If everybody is going the same way, how are you going to be able to forge ahead on a new path or venture? How is that person who doesn't like the way this is happening to make a better way? How is that going to happen if someone doesn't use their voice? And God puts all of us here for our own purpose and gives all of us different types of strengths and different gifts. But a lot of times I see it even if it's not me. Like this video is not because something happened to, like when I get on, like something happened to me, so let me spread. No, it's different things that I see and God downloads it and I just try to give it to you all. And I seen someone kind of get ostracized online for having their own view and their own opinion. And that just led me to it. Like, We're in a day and age, right, where nobody can have their own view, their own opinion. They can't stand up. They can't say what's right. And if they do, and right in their eyes, because sometimes that's relative to what we're talking about, and it's not a cut and dry situation where this is right, this is wrong. People have their own views and their own opinions, and some people are bold enough to speak it. They're bold enough to use their voice. They're bold enough to say, this isn't right, this is what I like, this is what I don't. And I notice when people do that, they're called names. They're this, they're that, they're this, they're that, for having their own voice, their own view, and their own opinion. So if you're at a job and everybody is eating in the cafeteria and you choose to eat, let's just say in your office, everybody's going to be looking at them. Well, why are they antisocial? Or why are they doing that? What if they're doing schoolwork? What if they're working on something else? What if they're meditating? What if they want time to themselves? That person who does their own thing is always talked about, is always judged. And we got to do better, y'all. We can't do that. Allow people to have their own, because you don't want anybody telling you what you should say, what you should feel, and what you should do. Think about it. In your family, think about the one person that speaks up for everybody. Think about the one person that people might call names and say things about because they do things their own way. They're an individual. Think about in your friend group. Everybody has someone in their friend group that maybe everybody has locks, and then that one person got their perm. But everybody in the lot with the locks talking about that one person with the perm. Allow people to be free enough to be them. When you're talking about relationships, think about relationships. If you speak up for your needs, right, your desires, your wants, and you just don't settle for how someone thinks that you should be loved, right? Then you're like, okay, well, why are you putting ripples in the ocean? Why can't you just go with the flow and allow me to love you? No, you can't do that. People's different love languages are different, right? Even when I'm coaching, it's so interesting because I have said this a million times to clients. Like, you can't love someone the same way you love the last one. Everybody's love requirement is different. So don't shame or judge someone if they are asking you to love them in the way that makes them feel comfortable, whether it's safety, whether it's, protection, whether it's laughter, whatever it is. You have to not ostracize the person who is expressing themselves in the way that they're doing it, being an individual standing on their own. That was a word for somebody. This is a word from your favorite life coach, Kendell Lenice. Don't forget to subscribe. It's so important that you do that, like, and share. So hopefully this all came together and to make sense. I speak from my heart. When God gives it to me, whatever message it is, or when I see it happening, I give it to you. So hopefully, you're able to just look at your life and look at yourself. You could be the person who speaks up for everyone, speaks up, speaks your mind, and then you're sitting alone because people labeled you, right? Or you could be the person who doesn't have the voice, who wants to have a voice in their own view and opinion, but they're afraid to be ostracized. So you're going this way when you really want to go that way. So I challenge you to really just get to understand yourself, know yourself, practice speaking up for, yourself. Practice. If you can't speak up for yourself, maybe you can speak up for someone else. Maybe that might be easier. But we only have this one life. And if you're living this life based off of what people say you should do and which way you should go, and the things that are wrong you're accepting or settling for, whatever it is, I would suggest that you search inside yourself to say, okay, well, what do I think? What is my voice? I remember on the movie Dreamgirls, in the song Listen that Beyonce sang, but she said, I'm using the voice that you think you gave to me, and some people do think that, well, I'm going to let you say your thing. I'm going to let you do. No, you have your own voice. So allow it to be heard, as long as you're not disrespectful, but also as long as you're true to yourself. That's really what matters. So dare to go against the grain. Dare to ruffle the waters if you have something that you believe in and that you feel that it would be better, not only for society or your job or your family or your friends or your relationships, but for you too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Once again, like and share. This is Kendell Lenice, the Remix Coach. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Till next time, God bless. Peace.